What's doing, everybody? Welcome to First Class Fatherhood. I'm Alec, and before I hit you with today's interview, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the link in the description so you can listen to all of the interviews I've done with so many tremendous dads, including Dana White, Deion Sanders, Tony Hawk, and so many others. Now let's get going with today's interview. Joining me now, First Class Father, Danny Phillips. Welcome to First Class Fatherhood.
Thanks for having me. I'm actually extremely humbled to be here. Extremely humbled. I'm very excited.
Glad to have you here with me today. Let's start it like this. How many kids do you have and how old are they?
I've got 5 kids and they range in age from, I've got a 9-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 19-year-old.
Wow, yeah, what a big age gap there. What type of sports or activities are they all into?
Soccer, baseball, track, football, all of them.
I should have said which ones are they
involved.
I should have said which ones are they not into.
Yeah, exactly.
You get involved with coaching at all, Danny, or do you like to enjoy all that stuff?
Oh yeah, 100%. So like even tonight, I coach my 2 boys coach their soccer. My daughter coach her soccer. The others are in high school. Braden's out of high school right now, but Ashlyn's in high school soccer, so I can't. But I've coached them all pretty much from day one up to sometimes having 3 teams to coach, and I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Danny, if you could, please just take a minute here to hit my listeners with a little bit about your background and what you do.
Yeah, so basically we have a family YouTube channel. Like to say I'm an entrepreneur. I also have a bathtub refinishing business, so kind of into the construction industry, and we're here on YouTube just as a family YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's incredible. How old were you, Danny, when you first became a father, and how did becoming a dad kind of change your perspective on life?
Oh, wow. I would say I was kind of, I don't know the actual average, but I'm a little late to the game. I was actually in my late 20s, and I actually was a stepfather before an actual father. So my wife was previously married, and so instantly I became a father overnight. And so I had my 2 oldest, which I've now adopted, and Braden and Ashlyn. So Ashlyn was about 1 year old and Braden was about 5, and just changed my life completely. I mean, your mindset instantly changes from, being single, living alone, to instantly having 2 kids. For me, my priorities shifted, like I said, overnight. I mean, no more. I mean, I come home after work and just take a nap, just, kind of do my thing. And now it's just total them. It's all about the kids and the family.
Yeah, well said. And obviously, you've had tremendous success here with the YouTube channel, the FamBam. What was the genesis of all this, Danny? How did you get it all started?
We've always been just very family oriented. We've always kind of documented or just shown clips of things on Facebook, Instagram, all the social medias before we were into the YouTube. And I had a friend who was like, "Hey, listen to this podcast," and he directed me to a podcast about Shay Carl, and it was him just basically on his journey, his YouTube journey, and how he started. And I was like, "Oh man, I could do this," and how you can make money off of it. And so we just started posting videos. We didn't know anybody. We had no one showing us the ropes, no shout outs or anything like that. We just started busting out the content, and it eventually started to snowball. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it started like that.
Yeah, I can understand the work that goes into it. I've just been doing the audio side for the first year, and I see the amount of effort that needs to be put into keeping something like this going. Now, as far as the kids, is there ever a time where you're because I know one of the things that I've learned about posting is that you got to be consistent with it. So I'm sure that you have to get videos ready to go. Is there ever a time where you're like, you got to get a video done, but the kids, they're not having it, they're having a bad day, or they don't want to do the video? Has that ever become an issue?
Yeah. I mean, we have one rule in this family, and that's we're not forcing you to do any of the videos. So if a kid, we've even let our viewers know, if a kid doesn't want to be in the video and you don't see them, then you know that it's not their day, and we're not going to force them to be in it or anything like that. And when we vlog, we just basically take the camera with us. It's not too scripted or anything like that. And so unless we're doing like a set challenge or something, but even with the challenges, we'll ask the kids, all right, who's in? And you'll notice sometimes the older ones are in it a little less frequently, or as they get older, a little less frequently, and that's fine. And then it's almost a treat to the viewers when they are participating that they get to see them. But yeah, there are those days.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Danny. And I usually I love to ask the dads about the discipline and what their discipline style is. What type of disciplinarian are you as a father, and is it different between your stepchildren and the other children? And does being on the YouTube channel make it any more difficult to discipline the kids?
No, no, it doesn't, because I mean, the reality of it is the YouTube is just a snippet of our of our life. I mean, it is our real life, but it's literally snippets of what's going on during the day. And as far as disciplinarian, I mean, I'm pretty, you know, I'm the one that's like chores, chores, chores. Do your chores. We have a motto in our family, Tina and I. It's maybe hate me now, but thank me later. And that sometimes as a parent you have to be the bad guy in order, and that's love. And so yeah, we're sticklers on certain things. And it's just accountability. It's action consequence kind of thing. And so we're pretty big on that. And as far as like with the YouTube, no, I mean, we've already told our viewers and our kids, like, we're not going to show the kids like in distress. We're not going to show the kids, getting in trouble. We're not going to show the kids. I mean, we let them know our kids are real and that's how it is. But this is a positive vibe, family content show. We don't need to, we're not going to show all of that. Will we talk about it? Yeah, we might talk about discipline. We might talk about how we do it, but we're not necessarily show you. We've already promised the kids we're never going to show them crying on a video. If they're upset or hurt or injured, we're going to be there with them with the camera down. So.
Yeah, that's very cool, Danny. And you know what? We're living at a time right now that's full of trolls, full of people that just hop onto social media and just blast people from behind an anonymous name. Do the kids ever read the comments that are on the videos? And is there any negative feedback, and how do they kind of respond to the criticism?
We filter the videos pretty well. I mean, we're fortunate enough to be one of the few family vloggers who actually has comments. And I believe a lot of that has to do with the diversity of our channel. It's not just a total kid audience. And so we let the kids kind of go through, because we filter them. If the kids were to go through our comments, there wouldn't be really anything that we wouldn't want them to see. Now, some of them have their own channels. We manage those comments. We manage those filters. And so they don't really get to see that. Do they know that there's, trolls or hate or anything? Yeah, we communicate to them. Sometimes we'll even share one with them. Not if it's about them, never. But we'll share and say, hey, this is part of the game, and this is actually part of life. You're going to have that no matter what. You don't want to shelter them with anything too much. Life sometimes doesn't give you a filter, right? So you've got to learn how to adapt to those things.
Yeah, well said. And how about as far as the response from their friends, Danny? Like as far as going to school and all this stuff, since the YouTube channel has had so much success, has it kind of altered or had any effect on the kids' relationships with their friends?
The kids are just normal kids. I mean, our kids, they might mention it. They'll say that they have a channel if asked and things like that. We just spoke at the kids' school about the channel for Career Day. And so a lot of the kids were very receptive to it as a potential career. The kids have not had any real negative feedback from others about it. Just naturally, I think as you get into your teens, you might be a little more self-conscious about it, just because you're seeing yourself in a different way on camera. When you're younger, all of those guards, and I guess you could say, are not up yet. And so as you start getting older, we have seen, Braden's now 19, been doing it since 15. Ashlyn's now 15. We slowly start to see how it's very common among that age group. Even if their friends think it's cool, they still have those, they have their natural insecurities. And to see themselves on camera, we have to respect that for each child because they're so different.
Yeah, that's awesome, Danny. And you know what? One thing I like to ask the dads that have, four or more children, like myself, I got four kids. What was the most challenging transition for you as far as number of kids? For my wife and I, going from two to three, that was where we were tested at the most. So what was the most challenging for you guys as far as number of kids?
You know what? I love it. You know what? I would want another one, as crazy as that may sound. And so, but it's not up to me, obviously. So my wife's like, really? I have my body is not ready for that. But you know what? I guess you could say I've been prepared all along. My mom kind of had a daycare growing up, so we'd have a ton of kids at our home. So I've always had this natural like tendency to to be around kids, and just that's why I love coaching so much. And so for me, the more the merrier, you know. But for my wife, I'd say, you know, we did every 2 years, so I don't know. I mean, it was just pretty consistent. I almost think it was more awkward not having a kid after once it was 2 years, 3 years, four. Oh wow, it's 4 years. Oh wow, it's now 6 years since we've had a kid. This is a little different, you know. We I think we've adapted pretty well. I think maybe we were meant to have this amount.
Yeah, hey, listen, I'm right there with you. We had our three boys first, then we got our girl on the fourth try. If not, we'd have five right along with you right now. So,
Oh yeah.
uh, and I'll tell you what, I mean, we're living in a world here where so many people are trying to hit that YouTube jackpot. Everyone's trying to come up with some content. What type of advice do you have for the parents out there whose kids are interested in getting a YouTube channel started?
Support them. Be actively involved. I mean, you know, we said it to the kids on the career day. It's like, you know, this is a platform. You know, times have kind of changed where careers are different. Not only if your kid cannot be the YouTube star, there's so much around YouTube that your kid could get involved with, whether it's editing, whether it's, you know, photography, cinematography. There's so much podcast that a kid can get involved with depending on their personality and their talents, and you just got to let them explore. Right now is a great opportunity to let your kids explore. We've got two of our kids, the youngest two, actually already know how to edit. And they're like, Dad, can we film and we'll edit our own content? And I'm like, yeah, you can, but before it goes out anywhere, it's got to come to me. And so, yeah, I would say support them. Let them have that freedom of creation and expression, and you be the micromanage, like, you know, the content, the appropriateness of it, and how it should go out, things like that. But support them.
Yeah, good stuff, Danny. And there's no doubt that all the editing and stuff that goes involved in this is definitely a skill that's very, very much important when you're doing stuff like this. And you know what? Just as a dad, for myself and for most dads out there, the social media, technology, video games has become an issue, especially in our house here. Now that you have so much of what you do is focused with the technology, how do you kind of handle all of the video games and technology and stuff like that with your kids?
Yeah, I mean, we have rules. We have rules, and to be honest, we've had rules and we've stuck by them like real strictly for a while, and then sometimes we get a little more lenient with it. You know, you have kids. Kids know where they can try to weasel in and try to get a little bit leniency out of you. You know, they know how to wheel and deal. Dad, I'm done with my chores. Can I get a little more time, or what have you, right? So, but we try to have a balance. We usually during the school week we make sure chores, homework, all of the regular set things are done, and then you can get a little video game time or no video game time at all. Sometimes we allow it a little bit more when sports are off season, because they have a little bit more time. But otherwise, you'd be surprised when you turn the electronics off. Even though we push people to watch YouTube and so forth, when you have a time where all electronics are off, and you give the kids the chance to be bored. That's what we say. Being bored is good. That you'll see the creative juices flowing. All of a sudden, they're playing hide and seek in the house, or they're downstairs playing a board game, or they'll just start to do things on their own together. And that's, you know, my wife and I have always said that, you know, allow them to be bored every once in a while. It's okay, because they'll start being creative.
Yeah, very cool. And just like we said earlier there, we have so much opportunity that's available right now, just with these devices. I mean, just speaking for myself, I've been able to speak to some incredible people just because of the capability of reaching people through this online world. But it can be a curse just as much as it can be, you know, a joy to use. So, and listen, we're about a month down into the new decade here. What kind of plans or goals do you have here for yourself and for your family for the future?
Oh, just take it to the next level. I mean, the potential when you within social media, the potential is it's almost unlimited. I mean, with the things that you can do, and just be creative. You know, whether it's you know, start a podcast, we're starting new channels, we're doing different things. Um, just take it to the next level. Just keep making sure that we're adjusting with the times as well, and we're excited about that.
Yeah, very cool. And the last thing I want to hit you with here, Danny, I love to ask all the dads that I get on the podcast, what type of advice do you have for the new father or for that about to be dad who's out there listening?
I would say a couple things. Always keep your word to your kids because they remember. So if you tell them you're going to play with them later, play with them later. Always keep your word. And the second thing is, I've realized you're their favorite toy. They would much rather spend time with you, especially growing up in the earlier years. Take advantage of that because it does dwindle a little bit later. But you're their favorite toy, and so take that time to play with them from the get go.
Yeah, very well said. I love the message. This has been an honor for me. I got to say, Danny Phillips, you're a first class father all the way. And thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time on First Class Fatherhood.
Thank you for having me.